Over the last 30 years, we have seen the value of our work diminish and the price of real assets like land and homes increase to the point that for most people under the age of 40, the hope of owning their own home has been lost. The response of governments around the world to the 2008 global financial crisis and COVID was to defer the cost of these events to the future. They did this by printing money, in effect selling our futures to pay for their bad decisions. This is corporatism, not capitalism. Money printing didn't hurt those in power, nor those who supported them, because they had real assets, property, shares and businesses that rose in price to match the inflation of money supply. But for most of us around the world, it sold our future for a fraction of its value. In response to this, a mysterious figure known as Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. He wanted to create a currency that could not be printed on command, thereby devaluing our labor. A currency that could be traded electronically between people without intermediation, allowing all of us to participate fairly in the economy. But if you tried to buy your groceries with Bitcoin, you'd stand at the checkout for at least 10 minutes, probably hours, waiting for the transaction to process, and the fee would cost you more than the carton of eggs and bag of apples. Bitcoin's limitations meant that it stopped being considered a currency in 2016 and was instead called a store of value. But it opened the door for someone to create a genuine currency that nobody controlled, but everyone could use. That someone is us. We created the Gajumaru blockchain and the Gaju currency. The Gaju is real money you can use, whether that is to buy a loaf of bread, pay for a haircut, buy a t-shirt, in fact buy or sell anything. It is a currency for everyday use. On Gaju Market, anyone can buy and sell any legal goods or services, just like you would on eBay, but at a fraction of the cost. Like Bitcoin, Gajus are mined on a computer. Unlike Bitcoin, mining Gajus does not require specialized equipment, nor huge power supplies. During our protected rollout, you can mine this on everyday computers, like the ones that sit in your home doing nothing for most of the day. We are working to get millions of people like you to mine the Gajumaru and be rewarded with Gajus that you can then use as real money. At the end of 2026, the Gajumaru will open to public mining. By then, we will have brought together millions of people like you to mine the Gajumaru. This will create such powerful combined computing capacity across so many millions of people that the Gajumaru can remain highly decentralized, enabling an economy for the people, by the people. To make all of this possible, we offer a variety of mining packages that combine all of the software and services you need on our website, gajumining.com. The software is simple to install, and there is a step-by-step guide that will get you mining and participating quickly and easily. You can buy those packages now. You can start mining the Gajumaru and being rewarded in Gajus now. Select a suitable mining package from the gajumining.com web store. Install and activate the software on your device and start mining today. This is an opportunity to be part of a movement to restore our humanity, our dignity, our sovereignty, creating a better future for everyone. For the first time in thousands of years, you will directly benefit from your work, your ideas, without being taxed by intermediaries or needing permission to be part of the global economy. We believe that capitalism is I win, you win, we all win, not I win, you lose. That's corporatism. We refuse to pursue venture funding that would demand we play the corporatist game, and chose instead to grow this movement by giving everyone the opportunity to benefit from their contribution to the movement. Just like being able to mine Bitcoin in 2008 or 2009, getting early access to mining the Gajumaru now allows you to mine the greatest number of Gajus and benefit most from being part of this movement. We want to share that with you. We want the whole world to be part of this. We want everyone who cares about our future to get on board and take this from a movement to a reality. We want to see an economy for the people, by the people, now. Join us. Put your fingerprints on humanity's story, our history. Be a leader in the economic emancipation of humanity. It's simple. Go to gajumining.com, select the mining package that's right for you, and get started today.
for the viewers out there, you might know that I was falsely accused of, being this third assassin. Turned out to be all nonsense. I have since then filed a defamation and civil rights lawsuit against the sheriff and the county that produced these false accusations. For anybody that's interested in finding out about what happened, you could go to americahappens.com or vemmiller.com, and there's a lot of information there. There's pages and pages. There's a short documentary. There's a new piece we just released called Geriatric Terrorism about my parents having to deal with this craziness. I won't talk about it too much in detail here, but the long and short is I filed a lawsuit, and Brandon and I were hanging out, and I said, hey, man, with your brilliant research and brilliant mind, I would love to hear you analyze my case. Let's talk about it. So that's really what this episode was supposed to be about an hour and a half ago, but it's got there's too much great information, dude. We could do 100 of these and it'll still be very interesting. So did you want to dive into that at all, or?
Yeah, why? Just give me the brief reason, because you gave me 2 complaints. You gave me the original complaint, and then it looks like on the 28th docket item, you filed a amended complaint. Can you just give me without having to dig through the docket, can you give me the reason why you filed the amended complaint? An amended complaint, by the way, for the audience, it's like to make a correction, adjustment, and it basically starts the entire cycle over again. So like if there was an answer and a reply and a bunch of shit that happened with that first complaint, when you file an amended complaint, it's basically almost like a reboot of the entire lawsuit.
Yeah, so that's what it was. It was like, so they tried to do a motion dismiss, anti-slap. So the amended complaint is, I think we're getting more information as time was going on in terms of the bad things that happened. And a lot of it's like affirming what was in the original complaint, the fact that there was a lot of defamation, civil rights violations, failure to train. Failure to train was a big one. That's a constitutional civil rights issue, because you have this police department or sheriff's department making accusations of somebody being an assassin, and there's not a shred of evidence. So that would indicate that these guys are just not trained very well. So really, the essence of it was a combination. I think 7 counts in total, or 7 issues in total. A few of them civil rights, few of them dealing with defamation.
Right here.
Yeah.
If you share my screen.
Should I add it? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. I pulled it up. This is the amended complaint here.
Yeah. So yeah, First Amendment violation. So the First Amendment violation in this version is really, you have a right to assembly, and that was prevented when they made all these false accusations and had me arrested. Municipal liability, failure to train is where, yes, they don't know what they're doing, essentially. That's a 1983 Monell claim, I believe. Failure to intervene is, let's say they're doing something crazy and they don't stop it, like calling somebody an assassin, starting an international press conference, letting 300 media outlets worldwide know about these false accusations, So that's as far as I know in terms of those actual counts.
Slander, libel, intentional infliction of emotional distress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I will go over this with you. I mean, I just keep in mind, obviously, whoever you're suing can obviously see this video.
Yeah.
So as long as you're fine with that.
Yeah. No. I mean, this has been pretty public, so this is all publicly available. The media covered it quite a bit. In fact, we're about to have some more media hits on it soon. It's just an ever-evolving story. So, yeah, I think we could talk about it.
Okay, so first question is, why are you using a bar card?
Yes, okay. I get what you're saying. So you're saying I should present myself?
Well, yeah. Why would you use a bar card? I mean, that's just, if you're so if we go to my questions and answers page, and again, it is what it is. I'm not saying you're not going to get traction. In fact, you may get more traction with a bar card than without it. I'm a purist. I'm the total opposite of Joey Kimbrough. Joey Kimbrough will say or do anything to win, and he's very open about it, and he wins. I won't do that. I'm a purist.
Mm-hmm.
I base everything off of fact and law. If I know I'm going to lose telling the truth, and I know I'm going to win by fibbing a little bit, I'll gladly lose as long as I'm telling the truth in the process.
This is why we love you, man. Yeah.
It's a very odd and different way of thinking and behaving. The way I look at it is, if I tell the truth and lose, and I'm going to come back again, tell the truth, lose again, I'm going to come back, tell the truth, and lose again. Eventually, I'm going to wear you down and win. Eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a battery. I'm willing to do this till the day I fucking die. I may live to 120 years old. You might die and someone has to replace you before I'm done with you. So to me, it's not even, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to give one shred of my integrity away to win. I don't need to, because I'm going to win eventually. It's just a matter of time. So if you look at the definition of the word client, a client from Corpus Juris Secundum is defined as one who applies to a lawyer. Clients are also called wards of the court. Then you look up the definition of wards of court, and the definition of wards of court is infants and persons of unsound mind placed by the court under the care of a guardian. And this comes from 7 Corpus Juris Secundum 4.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're doing when you take on an attorney at law who is going to represent you, which that's also here, represent. 2 definitions of represent. Definition 1, to appear in the character of, personate, to exhibit, to expose before the eyes. To represent a thing is to produce it publicly. Definition number 2, to represent a person is to stand in his place, to supply his place, to act as his substitute. So the term represent implies 2 parties. One party is essentially impersonating the other party. So they say, are you representing yourself? No, Your Honor, that's physically impossible. I'm representing the sole proprietorship? Yes, because I am a totally separate person and I am essentially impersonating the sole proprietorship. That would work. Mm-hmm. But to say that I'm representing myself is extremely ignorant.
And it's diminishment of your power, basically.
Well, it turns you into a ward of the court, which is defined as an infant and person of unsound mind.
So let me ask you, in that definition up top where it says my attorney's name and he's representing me, is there a different form of that wouldn't be such a diminishment? For example, attorney for plaintiff, and the wording of that is different. It's lower Vem Miller, and it's Vem Miller appearing. Yes. Okay, go for it.
So you could do it a bunch of different ways. The way that I would do it is Ethan Bierman would be listed as an attorney in fact / counsel.
Okay.
And then I would list my name, Vem Miller, as also an attorney in fact. Mm-hmm. And then I would list the plaintiff as the sole proprietorship.
Got you.
Now the problem, but that's actually not going to work in your case, because I just realized that's more of a commercial. That would be more of a commercial style. That's how I do it. Yeah. Because this involved you physically, your body, and it's actually something that I wouldn't actually do that. Sorry, I apologize. I would do Vem Miller, and I would do it in upper and lowercase, and I would say, white man, state citizen of Nevada, non-U.S. citizen, presenting himself with assistance of counsel contractually. And then I would say all rights hereby explicitly reserved. And then I would list Vem Miller in upper and lowercase.
Gotcha.
So he's contracted in as counsel, but he's not going to be representing you. He's not going to be speaking for you in the court. That would mean if you did that, you would be the one to speak at hearings. It wouldn't be him. He could be there, but ultimately you would be the one that would need to be the one speaking and driving if you set it up that way.
Gotcha.
Now, again, this might actually be better to win the way you have it set up here.
Now, explain that to me. This is great, by the way, Brandon. I love the fact that you're doing the pros and cons, and this is what, for the viewers out there, this is why I've spent, so much time with Brandon, because as a journalist, documentarian, podcaster, whatever, I've met a lot of people that have these kind of theories. I mean, a lot of them, The fact that you present it the way you do and you don't yell at me and tell me I'm wrong is sorry, I got to make this.
Well, just don't start talking about equity and you'll be fine, because I'll freak out, start breaking shit. I just can't handle it. But anything else is okay.
It's funny because that was one of my compliments to Brandon when we were hanging out the other day, grabbing a bite, where it's like, dude, you don't yell at me. You just explain stuff to me. And he started to laugh, because that's the inside joke on some of these guys. A lot of these guys are so full of themselves. They don't just they don't have the patience to explain it to you. So, man, I love the way you're doing that. So now tell me.
They don't have it's not that they don't have the patience to explain it. It's because they don't know.
Oh, and they just yell as a default to cover up the fact that they don't know.
They don't know. They're trying to sell the same course they've been trying to sell for 4 years. There's nothing changing.
Yeah. And
I mean,
that's another
thing. I've thrown out almost everything. My platform, the entire basis of my entire platform practically has been chucked in the trash can. It wasn't the most pleasurable experience, but I knew I had to do it.
That was another thing that, I was on very early on, and the fact that you actually today, even you said it 10 times, where you had certain things wrong. Man, kudos to you, because a lot of these guys, again, they're wrong and they just yell at you and try to make you seem like an idiot. But your approach is, it's like, you know what it is? Your audience is evolving with you. They're growing with you. And yes, you weren't perfect when you started, but nonetheless, you're humble enough where we're along for the ride, man. And you make it fun,
Yeah, you'll have some guy and he'll put some shit, trash, equity crap into a docket. It'll get thrown out, and then he'll make excuses. It's like, well, first off, if you really, and then the other thing is they don't go to fucking appeals. That's the other part. So wait a second. So if you really believed in this equity fucking trash horsecock garbage that you're filing into these fucking cases, and it gets thrown out, it's like, some of these people, maybe they do it 100 times, and one time it quote unquote worked. And then look, equity is the answer, blah, 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 blah. What about the other 99 times? Why didn't you go to fucking appeals? If you were so fucking sure about your dumbass fucking faggot equity trash, why didn't you go to fucking appeals?
Yeah.
Why didn't you go to appeals?
Yeah.
The answer, the reason why is because all the judges are Freemasons.
Yeah.
They all drink the blood of babies, and that's why I didn't go to fucking appeals. Equity is the answer. Rally behind me. Equity is the answer. No, it's not. You're insane. Yeah. You are actually psychotic, and you should be institutionalized. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the fucking problem.
Yeah.
You want to sell courses, and you want to muddy up the vision, and you've got 1,000 people who had their ass handed to them, and you had some random win. I'll tell you another thing too. I'm going to go over this in the debunk video. I've seen thousands of things dismissed, or hundreds. Let's say hundreds of things dismissed. You want to know how to get something dismissed? You want to know the real answer on how to get something dismissed?
Oh.
File in anything. File in a picture of your chafed taint into the fucking docket of the court case. File in a picture of your favorite daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding. I've seen so many dismissals from so many different things, from so many different angles. I've seen dismissals from things that are so insane that make no sense. I've seen dismissals from people filing in things written in Latin.
Wow.
I've seen it's so what happens is someone says, "Oh, equity is the answer," because they filed in some equity trash fucking retard shit into a fucking docket and they dismiss the case. No, that's not the reason why the case was dismissed. The case was dismissed because you filed some shit into the docket. They knew you were going to be a fucking giant pain in the ass, and they decided to just dump it because they got fucking 9,000 other cases that they don't have anyone that on the other side that's going to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't want to deal with you, and they just dismiss the case.
Mm.
I have sold over 300 license plates, diplomatic license plates, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had about maybe 10 or 12 people get arrested for them because they're idiots, and they probably had smoking crack in some fucking 1999 fucking Toyota minivan Previa with a back window shattered out with a fucking garbage bag over it. God knows what. And they've got a fucking diplomatic plate on the car. Fucking idiots. The same kind of people that'll go out and do equity.
We're talking about
fucking
that
people.
too. Like your car has to look like a
Same fucking people.
car.
The kind of people who talk about equity all day long and defend it are the kind of people who are smoking crack with fucking moldy pizza, and their windows are shattered out, and they get pulled over, and there's a fucking crack pipe on the dashboard, and they roll the window all the way up, and they've got it just cracked a little bit, and they tell the fucking cop about equity.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get their fucking windows smashed in and they get arrested. Equity didn't work. So shocking. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm so confused, right? So we've had about 10 or 12 people and I've had a body cam footage for a couple of them. So I've gotten a pretty good view on a couple of them, what happened. Every single charge for all 12 of the people who have been arrested using my license plate, which is a very small percentage, by the way, all of those charges have been dropped. And all 12 of those people have done wildly different things. I wasn't really helping them very much because they're fucking retarded. They should go do equity. That's what they should be using. They're fucking retarded. Go use equity. It's perfect for you. Right? So the thing is that but there's 12 different people and they're all doing different things. And a lot of them, because they're fucking retarded, are so fucking retarded, but they were all dismissed. They were all of them have been dismissed. Every single one.
Wow.
We had one. She filed. I'm not going to start saying people's names and stuff. There's privacy. I mean, if you're hearing this and you're one of the people and I say you're retarded, well, too fucking bad. Okay. I probably said that to you when I was talking to you. So one of them, she filed this like horse shit into the case. I don't even know. You can't even read it. It's literally just shit, right? Maybe they feel bad for her. Maybe it was like, God, maybe she's like retarded or something. Maybe it'll come up that like the prosecutor's office is like beating up retards or something in the court. And that's why they started and they offered her $500. That was the first offer. And she came back to me. And this is not an invitation for retards to come and hit me up. These are people who I knew, who I had already had communication with, who were going through something and they were either a referral or they had paid me or there was some kind of a warm line there. If you think you can just message me and I'm going to start helping you because you're fucking retarded, don't do that. Just go do equity. You'll be fine. It's perfect for you. These are people who I already had fucking communication with. I already had something going on with. Okay. And she comes back to me and she said, and what she filed in was just trash. And I just told her, I'm like, I'm not going to put in the amount of effort it's going to take to turn this log of shit into something worthwhile. Just file it into the case. Fuck it. And she did. And the response by the state prosecutor was, all right, fine. We'll reduce this from like a misdemeanor, like 1 year in prison, to a $500 fine. That was like the first offer. And I was like, and I had already seen like 10 or 12 of these things, and I was already like trying to find a pattern, and there was just nothing. There was no pattern at all whatsoever. And I said, no, just file in put some equity in there. Just file trash into the docket and see what happens. And she did that. She filed in a response saying no to the $500. She filed in some trash, and they dropped the charge. But most of the time, they don't even do that second offer of $500. Most of the time, they file in like trash, unreadable trash, and they just drop the charge. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
So there's all these guys on the internet running around talking about how this is the winning way, that's the winning way, this is the winning way. They've built an entire platform, for example, equity. But again, I don't want to. This guy, Amir at Matisse Academy, people keep telling me his name. I haven't looked into his stuff. I know there's some people learning from him. I know he's the big equity guy, but I can't sit here and say he's the cause of all this, because there's a bunch of other people that are telling me about this book, The Rules of Chancery, written by some fucking dude from 100 years ago or whatever. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's just low self-esteem just in general. I don't know what it is. And I don't want to go and sign up for Matisse Academy and dig through all his stuff trying to figure out if it's him. I don't care. For me, it's just in general, there is a complete and utter, deep, upsetting, intense, earth-shattering psychosis regarding equity. I don't care where it's coming from. I don't care who's responsible for it. It could just be low self-esteem and retardation just in general amongst the general public. It could be that. I don't know what it is. But I'm just going to expose the fuck out of it, make fun of it, and just the block button is going to get so worn out, it's not even going to fucking work anymore. So that's where this is going. So I'm just going to keep bashing equity and talking about retards and fucking, people and fucking who can barely even walk, people with like 40 IQ. I'm like, equity, bro, let's go, dude. You're perfect for it, right? I'm just going to keep doing that until this insane, retarded psychosis that I'm seeing in the fucking people, wherever it's coming from. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm not even going to look for it. I'm not going to look for the source. I'm just going to nuke everything everywhere until this psychosis is brought under control. So I keep saying equity. That's why I'm doing it. And you're going to start seeing me do this over and over and over again in every fucking show that I do until this has gotten under control.
Yeah.
So my point is, you can file anything into anything. And I've seen dismissals. I've seen there is no, go look at 100 dismissals. They're all different directions. You can't tell how or why. A lot of times there's a checkbox on there, in the interest of justice. That's the one they always check. In the interest of justice. And it doesn't say anything. We hereby dismiss this case in the interest of justice. That's it.
Wow.
So you've got 1,000 different dismissals or reasons why or whatever. One's in Latin, one's in quantum syntax, one they sent in a 1099A form, one equity, the retard in the wheelchair is doing the equity. You've got all these different things and they're all getting dismissed. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no pattern to it at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
So to say why is bullshit unless there's an actual opinion, and inside the opinion, the court or the justice explains that yes, this is why. So with that said, that's just this first part here. The attorney, but having an attorney at law like this and turning yourself into a ward of the court, it's also very, very normal. So this also wouldn't trigger any real alarm bells or sovereign citizenship, because this is pretty much the way they see everything.
So you're going to tell me the pros of doing it this way after you explain the cons. Tell me the pros of this approach for this particular.
The pro is it's very normal and you don't need to do anything. Those are the two pros. Ethan Bierman can be the guy on all the calls. You don't even need to be there. I mean, unless the court orders you to be there for some reason, but you don't even need to be there. He can talk for you. He can walk for you. He can jerk you off. He can do the whole thing. You don't need to do anything.
So if I did this by myself, I mean, tell me the difference between having somebody representing or presenting me versus doing something like of this kind. You know, it's different, I guess, with this lawsuit, because it is something that involves personal attacks and that sort of thing. You know, what I was told was that, look, this is like, you're pretty traumatized. They called you an assassin. You had to go into hiding. The whole shit was crazy. Probably best that, you know, with emotions being what they are, you might get angry and start yelling at Chad Bianco for being such a, you know, scumbag. Best to have presentation. So, you know,
that's not untrue.
Yeah.
That's not untrue. I don't think that's untrue. But again, keep in mind the definition of a client being a ward of court and the definition of ward of court being an infant or person of unsound mind. If I was, and I'll say this, and I feel it's pretty safe because I don't think the police are going to use what I'm about ready to say, because it's just so outside of the boundaries of what any of these bar cards would ever do. So I think I'll be okay saying this. I would attack you, and I would say that the reason why you took on a bar card is because you can't handle your emotions.
Yeah.
And because you can't handle your emotions, you are an infant or person of unsound mind. I would stick you in the box to cross-examine you, and I would literally attack the fuck out of you, and I would get you to totally freak out in the witness box, and then I would use that against you to destroy you.
Yeah. It's almost like if you look at the letter of the law, the fact that I had a representation confirms that I'm a lunatic, according to what Chad Bianco, he literally called me a lunatic when he was trying to false accuse me. So in a way, but it's also so beyond the norm. I don't think they want anybody in the court to
beyond the norm.
Yeah, they don't want it.
It's not 1 yard outside of the box. It's like intergalactic outside.
Yeah. Like they would be affirming everything that we're saying, and in a way the court could collapse because it is a high profile, high profile matter. If all of a sudden we're like, all right, you know, they called this dude a sovereign citizen, because remember, they're trying to have me be some kind of sovereign to paint this crazy picture. But then we affirm that by not being a sovereign, you're actually saying that you're a lunatic or some kind of like weak-minded loser. They don't want that stuff coming.
They're never gonna. No, there's no bar card. There's no police force. There's nobody but the most insane mankini wearing lunatics on the fringe of the galaxy would ever use that kind of a thing. But I'm just explaining. Again, I'm a purist, so I'm going to operate off of all the pure ideas and definitions, and I'm going to attack from a purist standpoint.
Yeah, totally.
So that's that, and then. This is all purist, you know. So if we go into what I'm about ready to explain to you is the craziest shit anyone's ever seen. A court's never seen anything within, 16 galaxies of what I'm about ready to show you. But I will show you what I would do to attack the 42s. So if we go to so you use 42 USC 1983. Let's go just a couple sections before that, and let's look at 42 USC 1981, equal rights under the law. All persons within the jurisdiction of the United States shall have the same right in every state and territory to make and enforce contracts, to sue, be parties, give evidence, and to the full and equal benefit of all law and proceedings for the security of persons and property, as is enjoyed by white citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is I would write a motion to dismiss or a motion to strike on all of the 42 claims.
Because
So
because
you're not a Negro.
Because
So
I'm not a 14th Amendment citizen.
You're white.
Okay.
So I would do 1, 2, 3, and 4. I would write a motion to strike or a motion for dismissal on those 4, based off the fact that you're attempting to use the Negro Civil Rights Act, and you aren't a Negro.
Okay, so now let me ask you the reverse of that. What would you do to strengthen those 4 things?
Well, the thing is that the courts and anybody you're going to be fighting against in the defense, they will never, ever, 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 ever in a bill. If someone offered the defense attorney $1 million to file what I just said into your case, they probably still wouldn't do it. So there's no risk of anyone pretty much on the entire planet except me doing that to your first 4 charges.
Yeah, because that's all based on the Slaughterhouse case, which we talked about in 301. That's all from the presumptions of that case, correct?
Well, Title 42 is essentially the Civil Rights Act,
mm-hmm.
which came out for the Negroes.
Yeah.
So if we look at 42 USC 1983, which comes right after that, that's the one that you used. If we go to 82, all citizens of the United States shall have the same right in every state and territory, as is enjoyed by white citizens.
Mm-hmm.
You have used a body of law that you have no right or ability to use, which is Title 42.
Mm.
So I would knock all 4 of those off right away.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
And the problem is you're fucked either way, because if you try to fight against that, it turns you into a Negro. So you're basically fucking yourself even worse than if you just drop the case. So that's
interesting. But that's basically because of these new findings. None of these bar card holders are going to even fathom what you're talking about.
Well, even if they knew what I'm talking about, they would never dare.
They would never dare.
They don't have the balls to pull something like that.
Yeah, like the bar would hunt them down at that point. They'd never be.
I don't know, but they would believe that the bar or something would happen. But I personally don't think anything would happen. But they would believe delusionally. Fear is false expectations appearing real. They would have a very strong false expectation that something very serious, whether it's a liberal outcry or something would occur. All hell would break loose if they filed something like that into a case. It's just all hell would break loose. Especially you got a California freaking police department.
Mm-hmm.
It's just never going to happen. If it did, it'd be the most shocking thing. I mean, a lot of shocking things are happening these days. So I suppose, you never know, but I just don't think you're going to see something like that in here. So, and then in terms of strengthening them, I mean, I would need to look at the, so let's look at the case here. We go down. This is just the story. You're a supporter of Trump. It got deeply involved in politics. I mean, right here, this is pretty concerning. You are not the owner of firearms. You're the owner of arms. Firearms is a 14th Amendment term. So right there, you're also saying you're a Negro. This also would be something I would use to get your first 4 claims dismissed. I would say in point number 3 on page 2 of the complaint, it is said that Mr. Miller is a resident of Nevada, which proves that he must be a U.S. citizen, Negro. He's not a white state citizen of Nevada. So that's false. That's a false statement. He does not have the full rights of the Second Amendment. He has reincorporated rights of the Second Amendment based off of that McDonald case. Incorporation doctrine. I would say he's attempting to say that he has the Second Amendment via McDonald versus Chicago, and he doesn't. And I would attack it. I would attack it that way. And then Mr. Miller owns firearms, which again further, and because you're using a bar card, that's why he's using all these terms. He doesn't know better.
Interesting. Wow.
So if I were to rewrite this, it would be these would be turned into just tort claims. So it would just be just violation of blah amendment resulting in damages. Violation of blah amendment resulting in damages.
So what makes it? What gives us the go ahead to do a tort claim? Explain to me the significance of what, for people that don't understand what tort claims are.
Just kind of generic. Just kind of generic, non-statutory type claims that are just kind of more generic. It just, a cause of action is just duty breach damages. So they had some kind of a duty. You explain the duty. They breached that duty in some way, and then there was some kind of damage that occurred because of a result. I mean, these are basically tort, slander, and libel. This is a tort style, intentional infliction of emotional distress. It's not based off of some kind of a statute that you're putting here. See, it's just a bunch of words. You could have done the same thing on these first 4. But instead, you use the Negroes Civil Rights Act.
So the reason for, the bar attorney's reason for that is that in order for it to be a federal question, because defamation, slander, libel, that's a state claim. And now if you get
that's correct.
And if you get into state courts, it's a big pain in the ass because there's all these civil rights violations. So that's actually what would keep it in federal court if the judge approves of it staying in federal court.
Yeah. So federal question is 28 USC 1331, and it's one of the ways that you gain. If you go to 28 USC 1331 and you click back one click to Chapter 85, it shows you. Is this it? Let me see here. Part 4. Maybe that's not it. Shit. I forget how I found the section talking about the various jurisdictionals. Because there's federal question, there's diversity, there's a few other ones that you can use. One of the ones that I would have used if you are going to use Title 42, that would have been, in my opinion, a much stronger way of doing this is I'm surprised you didn't use the conspiracy version of 1983. So this causes this is a 1983 on the conspiracy side, and it 10x's the damages. And then also 1985 has a special, very unique, totally separate let me see if I can actually, I think it is here. Let me is it this one? Let's see here. Just take a look here for just a moment. No, I don't think it's this one. Oh, here it is. So here is a special type of jurisdiction that you never really see anybody use. I've never seen it. 28 USC 1343, civil rights and elective franchise. The district court shall have original jurisdiction for any civil action authorized by law to be commenced by any person. Number 2, to recover damages from any person who fails to prevent or to aid in preventing any wrongs mentioned in 1985. And then this first one is to recover damages for injury. So with this particular style of federal jurisdiction, you can rope every single person who knew about what Mr. Bianco was doing and didn't take action to actively prevent the wrongs mentioned. But you can't do it under 1983. You can only do it under the conspiracy 1985. So you could go into the case, if you would have had an 85, you could have subpoenaed to collect all the emails and phone calls, and then through 28 USC 1342 subsection A2, you could have dragged every single motherfucker in as a defendant who knew about the situation and didn't take any. So then you could have combined that with the rule of evidence 301. And since it's a civil case, you could have created a presumption that these people were violating 1985 because they knew that civil rights violations were occurring and they did nothing about it. And now those defendants would have to prove with evidence that your presumption is not true. Basically, they're totally fucked, essentially, at that point. So anyone who knew, the whole goddamn police force could have been dragged in under A2.
So is it too late to include that in an amended filing?
You would need to file a motion for leave, but again, you're still operating within Title 42. So, if you want to do that, again, Joey would love this conversation. Joey would be like, God, yes. He'd have a Viagra boner that would never end. He'd be the happiest guy in the world to hear what I'm talking about. It's becoming more and more common, the Title 42 stuff.
Because of the 14th Amendment issues, why you're hesitant for Title 42?
I would never use Title 42. And if I was going to use it, it would be the sole proprietorship would be the plaintiff. Mm-hmm. You can do that in a commercial case, which is pretty much all I do is commercial cases. So I just make the sole proprietorship the plaintiff. But your case is not a commercial case. Your case is your case did not involve a sole proprietorship. There was no sole proprietorship at all. There wasn't a sole proprietorship in the car when your rights were violated. So you can't plug a sole proprietorship into your lawsuit.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know in your situation, I don't know how I would get Title 42 to function in your situation. If you weren't white, then fine. Mm-hmm. The problem is if the way I look at it is if somebody uses a Title 42 in one of their lawsuits, I would use that against them later. Like if you sued me for absolutely any reason and I did a background check on you and found out that you filed a Title 42 and you were calling yourself a resident who owns firearms, I would get your whole case dismissed because I would say, he's a U.S. citizen. He's not even a fucking state citizen. Evidenced by his use of terms such as resident, firearm, and Title 42 Negro civil rights actions in the lawsuit that he filed against Mr. Bianco a year ago or 2 years ago. And then how are you going to backpedal that? How are you going to say, oh no, I am white now all of a sudden? No, you're not. You already proved that you're not.
Yeah.
But again, what I'm explaining to you has never, ever, ever, ever happened in the entire history of the American culture. But my whole platform, the entire purpose of why I breathe and piss is to make what I'm talking about a reality. So you're going to start seeing it more and more and more very slowly. But my point is that if like if you were coming up against Pickletarian, you're toast with this kind of shit. But this is a fucking police force. They don't know their head from their ass, and they're definitely not going to put anything like that on the record. So you're probably fine. It just comes down to, what do you feel comfortable with? I wouldn't feel comfortable with doing that. If I was going to go in this direction, I would definitely, for sure, have a 42 USC 1985 conspiracy on here. No question. Just add it in on number 5, move 5 down, and then slandered be 6, libel be 7, and then this would be 8. There's no fucking way. And then I would add in, under the venue and jurisdiction section, I would add in that special jurisdiction under 28 USC 1343 A1 and A2, the special jurisdiction that's only for conspiracy charges under 85. That's probably what Joey would do. What I would do is just get rid of all the 42 completely. But it's your case. It's not my case. You're the one that's going to need to be pushing it. You're the one who's going to need to be driving it. You're going to be the one who's going to need to explain it. So the way Brandon would do it, the reasons why Brandon would do it are so foreign to everyone. You're not going to be experiencing any of that probably. Again, I operate like I'm on Venus, so it just doesn't even matter. So it just comes down to how you want to do it. I mean, the reason why I lose everything abysmally is because the arguments and the way I structure the arguments are so foreign to anything. It's like almost like speaking a different. It's like it's like an alien race coming into the courtroom. I mean, frankly, it's the truth. I mean, that is sort of the problem. That is the problem that I run into quite often. So, if you want to get traction and you want to move through the courts, my way, might not be your best option. But if you're going to go this way, I don't see why you wouldn't add in 85. I mean, 85 is the hot ticket. It's the big dog. These are like little pistols.
And what would qualify 85 in there? Like, what is the trigger mechanism based upon this case that then says we could put 85 in there?
If 2 or more persons in any state or territory conspire to prevent by force, intimidation, or threat any person from accepting or holding any office, trust, or it's 83 with 2 or more persons working together to commit an 83.
So you got to prove the conspiracy part of it.
That's correct, and that's going to raise the difficulty level, a little bit. But was there more than one officer above and beyond Chad Bianco that was there the day that this occurred, that arrested you or took you in a cop car or did anything else to you while you were there?
Yeah, and then, there was a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department aspect where over 26 hours later, they did conduct a raid of my parents' property thinking I was there. The only thing is we're still waiting to attain the evidence that ties them two together, even though on a presumption level, it's clearly possible that none of that would have happened if it wasn't for Chad Bianco's lies. So
you could do an 85 and just presume all sorts of craziness, and now they're saddled with having to prove that it's not.
Wow. Okay.
So if you're going to go in this direction, I'd say I don't see why you wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But you aren't a fucking resident of Nevada, and you don't own any fucking firearms, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
I could pull off a 42. I could pull off. Well, I don't know how. Anyway, never mind. I was going to say because I was going to say I would make the sole proprietorship the plaintiff, but I just don't. That's not really gonna. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because it's not the sole proprietorship that's having the rights trampled on. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Totally.
So, so that's that. So going down, we were at where were we at? We were at resident and firearm. Let's go back to that one. Presidential election. You went to the rally. There's that firearms word again. Let's see here. Violated his constitutional rights. Now you've already established with words like resident, firearms, and the Title 42 claims that when you say in here constitutional rights, that would be only and exclusively the 14th Amendment. Just so you know. And then from the 14th Amendment, you have the incorporation doctrine, which reincorporated sections of the original 8 amendments into the 14th Amendment category. You can see that right at the beginning, 14th Amendment. So, and then also keep in mind, well, actually that would apply because he's a state agency, Chad Bianco. So that would apply under the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment is the federal government protecting you from state civil rights, like destroying your civil rights on the state side. The other issue with this whole situation is the 14th Amendment does not apply to the federal government. So if the FBI came and did the same thing to you that Chad Bianco did to you, there would be no 14th Amendment, to my knowledge. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. There would be no, that would actually fall under their qualified immunity because the 14th Amendment only protects non-whites in the states against state-related neglect. It wouldn't protect you from federal neglect. So by being a resident and owning firearms and using Title 42, thank God Bianco is a state officer, because if he was a federal officer, your entire complaint would be just thrown straight out under qualified immunity.
Mm-hmm.
So because Bianco is a state officer, and because you're using Title 42 and calling yourself a resident who owns firearms, since you're not a white person who's a citizen of a state, obviously, these cases would need to be reviewed because you're operating through these doctrines. So if I was on the police end and I was going to destroy your complaint, I would go and read McDonald versus Chicago and try to figure out chinks in the armor of McDonald versus Chicago. If I attack McDonald versus Chicago, then and I win, then you're fucked, because your Second Amendment right to own firearms hinges on McDonald versus Chicago. And if I can undermine McDonald versus Chicago, then you're fucked.
Interesting. Nice.
Now, if you were a white state citizen and you weren't using Title 42 and you domiciled instead of resident and you didn't own firearms, but you own arms, there'd be no way for me to undermine that argument. It's impossible. We got the news story. And again, I don't think the police or any bar card's going to use any of what I just said ever. Never going to happen. So, I wouldn't be too worried about posting this video, it's just never going to happen. They'll never do it. Search the vehicle, ignored medical. Okay. You got the news story, FBI. Okay. Secret Service, FBI, some stuff about killing the president. Okay, great, wonderful. Multiple phony passports and driver. Okay. They love to say that. I know that one. So we have story. This is basically just the story. Okay, here we go. More story. Some damages. Okay, we've got the listing of a press release, parties. Jurisdiction venue. Okay. So he's doing it through a federal question. Okay. Federal question is 83. Okay. There's the Tort Claims Act. Okay. And then here we get into the allegations. We start getting into some background information. Okay. We have an audio recording. Okay, good. Some story here. You got body cam footage on this, or you're still waiting for it?
No, they're not releasing the body cam footage as of now. We've been 4 court hearings, about to go into the 5th one, just trying to get those.
Have you filed the motion to compel, or what do you?
Yeah. That's our next step, is to compel, force them. They'll probably lose the body cams, if you ask me, but yeah.
If they lose the body cams, then if you presume whatever you're going to presume, they can't produce evidence against it. So you automatically are going to basically create the entire narrative, and there's literally nothing they can do about it.
Yeah.
So if they lose the body cam, it's even worse if they lose the body cam.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to go, because those body cams will show civil rights violations, and they don't want that to come out.
Well, yeah, but if I would rather have body cam footage that maybe somehow you could possibly spin it with like great weight versus nothing. Because if you have nothing, then under Rule of Evidence 301, whatever you presume, if you could presume that you were literally raped by 15 black men and there's nothing they can do to prove that it wasn't true. You see my point?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have affidavits and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, you could use the fact that they lost the body cam footage to prove your presumption.
Mm-hmm.
So you're presuming something under Rule of Evidence 301, and then you're saying, see, they're not releasing the body cam footage because they know that this is true, and this presumption needs to become a fact.
Yeah.
It's unrebutted. So you can use that against them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Firearms, that's getting mentioned again. Okay. Bomb sniffing dogs. Good. Got some bomb sniffing dogs. We got the booking numbers. Okay. We've got the call. It looks like the call was not given to you. Okay. Or there was some difficulties or something associated with that. Okay, fine. FBI and Secret Service interviews. Okay, good. Good. We have some other stuff here. Booking progress. We've got all sorts of goodies, all sorts of good stuff all over the place. I mean, the fact that 1985 wasn't used is just insane. I mean, you have the most 1985 thing I've ever seen in my life, and it changes and upgrades this to such a dramatic degree in so many different ways. It's a massive, like, if the 83s are all like little pistols, 85 is like a fucking rocket launcher, bro.
But is it because there's got to be some sort of evidence that ties it into conspiracy that it didn't happen, or?
Yeah, I mean, you could talk with your guy about it. Maybe there's a reason why he didn't put it in. Maybe he's done it before and he just finds it terribly hard to prove. I mean, I'm just giving you the theoretical aspect of. He might have a really good reason as to why he didn't do an 85. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we have the Epoch Times. Okay. Let's see here. Good. Got all sorts of good goodies here. Some links to some press release type stuff. Okay. So this is just more story. Here's a picture of an article. Okay. Got some articles in here. Them smiling face. There it is. KTL, KTLA. Okay. Got some stuff here. Some audio visual stuff. Okay. There's the parents raid. Okay. What is this? Dual citizenship. What is this?
So I was born in Canada, but so I have a Canadian passport too. That's pretty much it. And then in my U.S. passport, because I traveled to dangerous regions, I had to change my last name so it's not a marked Armenian name, so to speak. You know.
Okay. I guess that's kind of a problem too, because to be a white state citizen, you wouldn't be able to have that Canadian passport.
Mm.
So that changes things a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You could just roll with this 42 stuff. Ask your attorney if you should add an 85 on an amended complaint to another amended complaint, or leave it as it is, and just roll with this, because if you were to go white state citizen, you wouldn't be able to have a Canadian passport. You have to get rid of it.
Yeah, which honestly at this point I'm fine. I just used to use it interchangeably when I traveled for investigative journalism, because some places they favor Canadian passport versus they might be a hostile state to the U.S. But at this point, you know, I mean, he pretty much exposed all my journalism game by doing this international press conference. So it wouldn't be safe for me to travel to those parts anyway. So I'd be more than happy to get rid of that passport.
Yeah. First Amendment violations against the defendant. Okay. Have they responded to this? Have they answered this amended complaint?
Yeah. So they've answered this. They've answered the.
Did they file a motion to dismiss based off this, or did they file an answer?
No, they filed a answer with a motion to dismiss and anti-SLAPP, which we're supposed to submit our next filing for September 15, and then we have a court date December 11.
A hearing on the motion to dismiss?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Training. Okay. Yep. Training. History of prior events. Okay, good. That's good. Yeah, your boy did a lot of work on this. You can tell. That's no question about that.
Yeah, he's been on top of it, man, and he's definitely a dedicated attorney. I mean, he's down he's saying this might go all the way up to the Supreme Court, because they're going to try to do every delay tactic, motion to dismiss, appeals. They'll appeal it up to the Ninth Circuit. If they lose, we'll do the same. I mean, he kind of sees it as inevitable that this goes to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I mean, pretty much everything I do just seems to go straight up and vertical immediately. So I understand.
And it's a lot of money too. I mean, the lawsuit I think is $100 million. So like that pretty much puts Riverside out of business. So they're going to fight tooth and nail, more or less.
Yeah. It's pretty hard to put together a slander and defamation, slander and libel, but this is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have typically a pretty extreme situation to put together libel and slander. And I would say this definitely fits the bill.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What's funny about the whole sovereign citizen thing is because you're using Title 42, yeah, you wouldn't be a sovereign citizen. If you were a white state citizen and you didn't have that Canadian passport, you would be a sovereign citizen. That's all new. That's all from my recent research. But anyways.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It might be best off just rolling with this. You might want to just ask your guy about 85.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, if you do this and you're worried about, again, this is how I think, so just bear with me. If you're worried about someone using this against you later and saying that you're a U.S. citizen because of all this stuff that you're saying, you can always just like, in a few months or 6 months, I mean, you can always just like get rid of your Canadian passport and then just start announcing state citizenship and like just like make that shift very public whenever you're ready for it.
Because that's what you just have to publish it, right? I mean, today I could theoretically publish that, hey, I've decided I'm a white state citizen and change my status, basically.
Yeah, it's really that simple. I think the Armenian culture is part of the definition of a free white person. I would need to check. I'm like 95% sure. So you wouldn't really even, but it's a presumption anyways. So even if you weren't, you could just presume you are, and then now they have to prove that you're not. Yeah. But yeah, the problem that would introduce is it would totally derail your attorney. I mean, he'd be. You might as well throw a grenade in his mouth. He's not going to know. He's not going to know how to handle that, how to put together anything about that. He's not going to know how to push that. He's not going to know. He's not going to have a clue what the hell. You're basically going to just totally derail him fully.
Yeah. Brother, this is awesome, man. Is there anything we didn't touch upon? We're almost like 3 hours in, dude. 2 hours 45, you know?
No, I can't think of anything else. I mean,
cool.
You're kind of in the same boat as me. It's so high profile. All my shit's so high profile. There's so many people watching. It's like a goddamn. It's like its own court TV on my shit. So it changes. It changes the. If I were you, I would go farther. I would lean farther into that. And what I mean by that is I would get a media pass to film the hearings.
Oh, when this goes live, basically.
No, even your upcoming hearing. I would look into ways to televise and record and publicize everything as much as possible.
Okay.
And I know you have your own media arms, so you can even use those to list those as media agencies that are interested in coming in and videoing or live feeding the various hearings. You need to look at the local court rules on that or call the clerk. Typically, there's a form that you fill out that you can get media access to come in and film or whatever. I would push even farther in that direction if I were you.
to keep it high profile and to
Yeah.
keep it and make it noisy and stuff.
Yes.
Is that to like stop like any kind of fuckery from happening, or is that just to kind of keep the momentum, or
Just to keep the pressure up? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let things cool down. Make it hotter and nastier as the days progress. Make them so the whole sandbagging thing. Make it a penalty. Make it more and more painful for them to sandbag.
Yeah. I mean, we've tried to make things as miserable as possible for Chad Bianco, and it just even with all his support, man, he's got a lot of money behind him, but he's not enjoying all these different exposés we keep putting out there, you know?
Yeah, and everything I'm saying here, just to be clear, I mean, anyone can sue me for any reason. Would be a sexual experience to receive a process server. But just to be clear, I don't know anything about any of this. Just to be clear, I mean, just to be clear for the audience and stuff like that. I don't want it to make it seem like I'm not pro or anti anyone. I mean, Vem's obviously my friend, so I trust what he has to say. But I'm not. I don't know enough, nor do I even care enough to dig into all of the fine details. Obviously, it does appear that you have had a serious injustice that has occurred to you. And I think that ideally, the correct thing is that you should receive a balancing of those scales through the judicial system. And I think that's just the fair thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole purpose of justice. That's why the Justicia has those two balancing platforms that she holds.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she's blindfolded, because she doesn't know what the value of the damage is from this person to this person, and she doesn't know what would repair that damage. It's all subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, you know, unconditional promises to pay called Federal Reserve notes, it's a bit of a joke. It's hard for me to even think with that anymore. You can give me 10,000 of them or 1,000,000 of them or 100 million of them. It doesn't really mean much to me. So it's totally altered and skewed. And it's turned me into this like mutant where it's like, you can't, I'm almost more interested in just asking 1,500 questions in discovery and getting everyone to put revolvers in their mouth and kill themselves more than I am of being issued unconditional promises to pay called Federal Reserve notes.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know how they death, and it's like a skeleton in like a black robe with like a scythe. Like I feel like I'm like death.
Yeah.
Like, that is my purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I do know what you mean, actually. Yeah.
So it's like completely different, and they don't even know how to even deal with someone like me. They've never, ever dealt with anything like this. And even I sometimes look at myself and I'm like, wow, I don't even know what to think. I mean, from my own perspective, I don't look at myself and like ask myself questions or wonder. It's just like, it just makes perfect sense. Like, why would I be concerned about being issued unconditional promises to pay when I can create all the unconditional promises to pay that I want at any point in time?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm more motivated by the fact that like I bring death.
Mm-hmm.
Like I bring death. Like I am the bringer of death. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I could relate, because people ask me, they're like, oh, like when this is all done and said, they're gonna have to write you a big check, and I haven't even thought about that. I'm like you, man. I'm happy I'm bringing displeasure to the bad guys. I'm happy that,
but it's not even vengeance. Like I don't have any vengeance at all. I have no vengeance. It's just my job is to bring death.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm supposed to be doing. To me, it's just like a job. It's like going in and working on the computer. Like I arrive as part of the natural cycle of life and death. I bring the end of existence. That is what I do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know like how to really explain it. Like I get you.
It's
just, you know, Like if something needs to die, it's almost like I get a notification on my phone, like it's time to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's interesting. And the thing that needs to die is what?
The U.S. citizen classification and negotiable instruments operating as the primary currency supply in society.
You want it to be back to gold, silver, none of this kind of interest-based system where
we can use
financial slavery, basically.
We can use a crypto. We can use a gold and silver coin backed stable coin crypto.
Yeah.
In order to continue to use things like Postmates and Amazon and auto payments. And I understand that people don't want to lose the functionality and conveniences of life. I don't either. Yeah. But that would be a secondary layer. The primary layer would be the constitutional layer, which is Article 1, Section 10, which says no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payments of debt. And, you know, very recently when I was writing that rebuttal to the vapor money theory, I'll do another screen share, is when I had already had these cases culled together, but I look at these things over and over and over, and I try to memorize a lot of this stuff. I find like the key pieces of information, like for example, I just recited word for word, I believe, Article 1, Section 10, that section, because it's so important. You know, I wanted to make sure I had it down. But if we go back to my MX reply brief, and we look up the cases as regards to the ones that I listed in the vapor money theory rebuttal section, I'll show you the exact case when they described how they were going to handle the situation. That's actually very interesting. Because people are like, oh, Federal Reserve, no, it's unconstitutional and blah, 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 blah. Well, it's an interesting conversation. Here we go. The case is Juilliard v. Greenman, 1884. It was part of the legal tender cases. By the Constitution of the United States, the several states are prohibited from coining money, emitting bills of credit, or making anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payments of debts. But no intention can be inferred from this to deny to Congress either of these powers. So basically, in English, what they're saying here is the District of Columbia is not a state. So it doesn't fall under Article 1, Section 10. That's how they did it. And that's why to this day, you have things like make Washington, D.C., the 51st state. You have a whole website on this, FAQ, statehood, state of Washington, D.C., 51st state. They've been fighting like crazy to try to get Washington, D.C. to be the 51st state forever. It'll never happen. If it happens, it would destroy the whole monetary supply. Because then Washington, D.C. would be under Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. It would turn us back to gold and silver coins. Federal Reserve notes would vanish if Washington, D.C. became the 51st state. Plus, it would totally fuck up the Commerce Clause. So driver's licenses and the DMV would also be essentially obliterated off the face of the earth.
That sounds good.
It does sound good, but there's a lot of better solutions. And that's why Washington, D.C. will never become the 51st state or 52nd or 53rd or any of the above. Never going to happen.
Wow. Interesting, man. Fascinating stuff. This is great, brother. This is great. Did we is there anything we missed or?
I don't think so. I mean, what do you think?
No, this is awesome, man. This is a really great episode. I really appreciate your time. I'll be back in California soon, so I'm coming out there for the GOP convention. You know, let's grab a cucumber salad. It's funny how cucumber salad became my favorite freaking salad. Isn't that crazy? Have you thought about that at
Well,
all?
that's also the Armenian culture. Everything's got fucking cucumber and mint and yogurt sauce. It's like almost everything has one or more of those three. You know what I mean? So it's just so, in the summer, it's so nice because everything is minty and cucumbery, and it's just very refreshing.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I look forward to seeing you again. And for the viewers out there, we're going to be working on some stuff. We talked about doing this history of Miller, right? That's what we're going to be working on one of these days, or
maybe not right away. I got some other stuff, but I think at some point in the near future we could do some sort of cartoon or animated timeline of Roger B. Taney, and then the Civil War, and then Samuel Freeman Miller and the slaughterhouse cases. Yeah. So it'd be like a Dred Scott v. Sanford, 1857 through the Civil War, and then Samuel Freeman Miller, and then so it'd be like Taney would be introduced in the video, like his background is where we would start. We would explain his life, his background. I think he was on the Supreme Court for 28 years. So what was he doing before 57? What built up to 57? What was his stances on various things, and how did he operate, and how was his life, and how was his family, and how was his background? And then we would go through Dred Scott v. Sanford and why he did what he did and what he did. And then there'd be a teeny little itty bitty Civil War section, just Civil War, and that's it. We're not going to talk about it too much. And then right around that same time period, we would start building out Mr. Miller's background and what he was doing and why he was doing it and how he became a doctor. And he moved to a different state to go to a place where releasing slaves and not having slaves was more publicly accepted. So he had a long, rich life history. You can see through his actions that he was strongly, I mean, I always laugh, his middle name is Freeman. I always thought that was so funny. He was literally like the poster child of freeing men, and he was free man. I mean, he embodied everything about the heart and soul of wanting to release the Negroes. And I say that word as a legal term, by the way, for anyone who's maybe new to this information. I don't say that. The term to say blacks is actually very inaccurate. To say African Americans is a complete joke. That one's actually the worst.
No.
And then to say Negro is actually the friendliest, the kindest, and also the most technically specific. Just by the way, for people who may be new to this, I know it may not sound that way, but that's just the fact. I'm a purist. I don't care about your reaction. You can kill yourself or fuck somebody, or you can commit incest. You could have any reaction to what I say, and I'm just going to laugh while I smoke a cigar. I say the things that I say because it's the correct thing. It's the most accurate thing. It's the most honest thing. I try to do that as much as possible, regardless of the consequences. Consequences are irrelevant.
Yeah.
So if I'm deplatformed, if I'm whatever, it's fine. I'll figure it out. I'll start a magazine. We'll do it like it was done in the mid 80s. I'll have a magazine. People will subscribe to the magazine. I'll send out a magazine once a month with all my posts and all my updates and I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But back to, so Samuel Freeman Miller, we would do his background, what he was doing. He released all his slaves. Why? How did that work? I believe, if I remember correctly, they helped him move. He moved from like Kentucky to like Iowa or something. And I think they helped him move, and then right after that is when he released them. But I could be wrong on that. I have to review all this. That's why I don't really want to do all this quite yet, because I'd have to really nail down everything perfectly. And then we would do his operation, his getting into. He was a doctor, and he was studying law on his own. He taught himself law as a doctor, and then he got into the Supreme Court. I don't know. I think he got into some kind of lower judiciary, and then he worked his way up to the Supreme Court. So we would kind of go into that a little bit. And then I think he was put onto the Supreme Court in like 62 or 64, 1862. And then we would maybe do a little bit of his build up through the Civil War, and then after it up to the slaughterhouse cases. And then the slaughterhouse cases ended in 1864. 1873, but you have all these different cases that all made up the slaughterhouse cases opinion. That's why it's called slaughterhouse cases. There's a whole bunch of them. So it's like Mr. Miller's dealing with like all these different cases, and him and his boys at the Supreme Court are digging through all these different cases for I don't know how many years. I really don't. I mean, obviously, I would have to learn quite a bit to even do this presentation, which is great. And then the slaughterhouse cases began, the first case, and then there was a bunch of other cases. I don't know when everything began and when all of that timeline was, but we would cover that briefly. And then the end would be the slaughterhouse cases final opinion, April 14th, 1873. And then we would do Bradwell v. State, which happened the next day, April 15th, 1873. And then we would do maybe a few other things like U.S. versus Cruikshank would be a good one. And then Mr. Miller died in 1890. And I think that would be the full, and then that would be some sort of like an animated style video.
Yeah. Sounds awesome, man. Sounds awesome. We're going to be working on this stuff, man. You're an inspiration. It's funny because whenever we hang out, you know, the music video idea we started talking about, you know, you're just doing things that, and I appreciate that. I appreciate other creative individuals, other kind of groundbreaking, you know, thinkers that are part of this greater community, man. We're going to do some good stuff, and I just look forward to more and more, you know?
Yeah, I think it's important because I think in this new world, so many conspiracy theory type people, they think that all government's evil and the Supreme Court's evil and all this kind of stuff. But when you go back 150 years, you find a lot of people who really loved this country. And a lot of what I do in the past 6 months and the things that have happened and the way that my mindset has shifted is because I have now wanting to emulate some of these people. These are real Americans. Mm-hmm. I mean, how long has it been in America since we've seen a real American? How can we emulate someone that's an extinct breed of human or man or woman, however you want to say it? When you see the things like Samuel Freeman Miller or Roger B. Taney or John Marshall or any of the other guys, and you read about what they were doing and you read about their involvement in the country, or like, you know, Daniel Webster and all these guys, we have not had anything like this in a very, very long time, in many generations.
Yeah.
So how are we expected to have a model American to emulate?
Mm-hmm.
And by doing this, we're taking two model Americans, Roger B. Taney and Samuel Freeman Miller, one of which his reputation has been destroyed throughout the 80s and 90s by the woke culture. All of his street signs, Taney Street, were replaced, most of them, or all of them. His statues have mostly been torn down because of his Dred Scott versus Sanford decision, which is stupid because all he was doing was literally just following the Constitution, and he served our country for 28 years. So the fact that it's literally just full blown woke mob nonsense.
Yeah.
And then you have Samuel Freeman Miller, who should be basically exalted as like the greatest white man in relation to the black culture that's ever walked the earth. He should be essentially the white messiah of the black race, but instead he's just forgotten, and his words are forgotten, and everything's forgotten, and his decisions have been twisted, and it's destroyed the whole country. And that's not at all. He loved America and he loved the blacks, and he just wanted to free the blacks, and he felt like, and he is that. I mean, Mr. Miller should be exalted as one of the greatest Americans that has ever walked the earth. He should be exalted as one of the greatest judicial beacons of the entire history of all human race.
Wow. You mentioned last question. You had said something funny. You're like, if we had a time machine and we brought Mr. Miller to Washington, what would happen?
Bro, this is someone made me a post. Hold on, I'm gonna show this to you. We'll end on this. I want to see. Someone made me I'll show you. This perfect. Absolutely. I don't do the AI shit because I just don't fucking care. I just have everybody else do it for me. So if I want something, I'll just be like, make me this, right? This is exactly what would be happening. I'll show you the picture. and then I'll do share system audio. It's going to be kind of loud, but I'll do share system audio so you'll be able to hear it too.
All right.
This is let me see. Where is it? How do you get the audio? Where's the audio at?
Oh, I got it right here. It's played.
No, it's not. God damn it. It's got audio. It's got like crazy ass hardcore rock, and it's like this dude screaming. It's like super intense, and it gives a lot of background too. Damn it. I can't, let me see if I can, pull it up on my phone because the music is what does it, dude. Here. So that's the background music to it. That's basically what would happen if Mr. Miller came back from the dead.
That's awesome, man. I'm turning it off because it was echoing.
But anyways.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. It's always a great time for the viewers out there. Thank you so much for joining us for this Blood Money episode. Make sure you check out AmericaHappens.com for all of our featured episodes. I have a feeling this is going to cut into a two-parter. So hope you guys enjoy both parts, and I will see you all on the next episode of Blood Money. Take care.
Over the last 30 years, we have seen the value of our work diminish and the price of real assets like land and homes increase to the point that for most people under the age of 40, the hope of owning their own home has been lost. The response of governments around the world to the 2008 global financial crisis and COVID was to defer the cost of these events to the future. They did this by printing money, in effect selling our futures to pay for their bad decisions. This is corporatism, not capitalism. Money printing didn't hurt those in power, nor those who supported them, because they had real assets, property, shares and businesses that rose in price to match the inflation of money supply. But for most of us around the world, it sold our future for a fraction of its value. In response to this, a mysterious figure known as Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. He wanted to create a currency that could not be printed on command, thereby devaluing our labor. A currency that could be traded electronically between people without intermediation, allowing all of us to participate fairly in the economy. But if you tried to buy your groceries with Bitcoin, you'd stand at the checkout for at least 10 minutes, probably hours, waiting for the transaction to process, and the fee would cost you more than the carton of eggs and bag of apples. Bitcoin's limitations meant that it stopped being considered a currency in 2016 and was instead called a store of value. But it opened the door for someone to create a genuine currency that nobody controlled, but everyone could use. That someone is us. We created the Gajumaru blockchain and the Gaju currency. The Gaju is real money you can use, whether that is to buy a loaf of bread, pay for a haircut, buy a t-shirt, in fact buy or sell anything. It is a currency for everyday use. On Gaju Market, anyone can buy and sell any legal goods or services, just like you would on eBay, but at a fraction of the cost. Like Bitcoin, Gajus are mined on a computer. Unlike Bitcoin, mining Gajus does not require specialized equipment, nor huge power supplies. During our protected rollout, you can mine this on everyday computers, like the ones that sit in your home doing nothing for most of the day. We are working to get millions of people like you to mine the Gajumaru and be rewarded with Gajus that you can then use as real money. At the end of 2026, the Gajumaru will open to public mining. By then, we will have brought together millions of people like you to mine the Gajumaru. This will create such powerful combined computing capacity across so many millions of people that the Gajumaru can remain highly decentralized, enabling an economy for the people, by the people. To make all of this possible, we offer a variety of mining packages that combine all of the software and services you need on our website, gajumining.com. The software is simple to install, and there is a step-by-step guide that will get you mining and participating quickly and easily. You can buy those packages now. You can start mining the Gajumaru and being rewarded in Gajus now. Select a suitable mining package from the gajumining.com web store. Install and activate the software on your device and start mining today. This is an opportunity to be part of a movement to restore our humanity, our dignity, our sovereignty, creating a better future for everyone. For the first time in thousands of years, you will directly benefit from your work, your ideas, without being taxed by intermediaries or needing permission to be part of the global economy. We believe that capitalism is I win, you win, we all win, not I win, you lose. That's corporatism. We refuse to pursue venture funding that would demand we play the corporatist game, and chose instead to grow this movement by giving everyone the opportunity to benefit from their contribution to the movement. Just like being able to mine Bitcoin in 2008 or 2009, getting early access to mining the Gajumaru now allows you to mine the greatest number of Gajus and benefit most from being part of this movement. We want to share that with you. We want the whole world to be part of this. We want everyone who cares about our future to get on board and take this from a movement to a reality. We want to see an economy for the people, by the people, now. Join us. Put your fingerprints on humanity's story, our history. Be a leader in the economic emancipation of humanity. It's simple. Go to gajumining.com, select the mining package that's right for you, and get started today.